One of the most common questions our team is asked is, what advice do you have to motivate people? And our advice actually is really simple. Hire motivated people and fire all the rest. I'm partly kidding. That is actually great advice. Because looking back over decades of research of what it is that motivates people, a very clear and consistent finding is that some people are more naturally self-motivated than others. And there are those people for whom no amount of motivation is sufficient to change their behavior. So it would be great if we could only retain individuals who are self-starters, who are disciplined and conscientious go-getters, who are motivated without abandon, and to avoid all the rest. But that's not the bell curve of life, and that's not what we get. So back to the question, what advice do you have for motivating people? The next best thing you can do, second only to what I just suggested, is to create an environment in which most people are motivated more often than not. And the way that we create such an environment is by eliminating the barriers to motivation. If one was Machiavellian in nature and set out to design an organization that demotivated people, that person would orchestrate and create a structure of great hierarchy, perhaps matrix management, limited resources, multiple bosses, ambiguity, unclear priorities, etc. Also known as bureaucracy, which is designed, by the way, in whole to minimize risk. There is a lot working against leaders these days through distraction and division that negates a lot of efforts to create a motivating workplace. But it remains the fact that if we hire self-starting individuals and get out of their way, we'll generally have a very high-performing organization. I can't overstate this, but if we view our role as a supervisor, a manager, a leader, any person of influence, if we view a large portion of our role to be motivating others, we will find ourselves spent and surrounded by low performers. In First Break All the Rules, which is one of the greatest meta-analyses of managerial best practices ever undertaken, 400 companies, 25 years, maybe 80,000 respondents, just a huge trove of analysis. One of the major findings is that most leaders spend about 2/3 of their time working with the lowest performers in an organization, which is to say that the reward for being a high performer is to be abandoned and overworked. So if you have more than you can say grace over, more on your plate, more than your fair share, congratulations, you must be a high performer. I'm reminded of Greek mythology when I think about the problem of trying to motivate other people. Atlas, who was a Titan, it was the first generation of Greek gods that preceded the Olympians. The Titans tried to overthrow the Olympians. Atlas, if you will, trying to overthrow Zeus. And they failed. the Titans failed in this war between the gods, the two generations known as the Titanomachy. And in the Titanomachy, what did Zeus do to punish Atlas for his uprising? Zeus cursed Atlas for all time to exist on the realm between Earth and all these celestial spheres, and in perpetuity to support the celestial spheres on his shoulders. So Zeus's punishment to Atlas was to carry for all time. So I can't think of a more miserable soul than the manager who views his or her responsibility to be that of carrying Tom, Dick, and Harry and their motivation Monday through Friday. So my best advice for how to motivate others is to hire self-motivated people and resource them and point the way and then step aside. And when you can't do that, try to minimize the damage caused by those who are not naturally motivated. Try to quarantine what it is that they might otherwise toxify. Try in all your actions to liberate those who want to take the hill and minimize the damage done by those who don't care.